Study shows the more you work, the less productive you become. And it gets even crazier. Working less can actually unleash the secret powers of getting more done. And my name is Alex Mikol, and I managed to scale a brand to $30 million a year by working 4 hours a week. And I'm going to show you exactly how you can achieve more by doing less. Let me explain. In the beginning of 2019, I was at a point in my life where I was working 15 to 16 hours per day on my business without having the results that I wanted. And I had many employees, lots of responsibilities, and I didn't enjoy the process, plus my creativity was lacking. But one day, a friend of mine came to stay at my place, and he was a very successful affiliate generating something like $1 million a month in revenue as a solopreneur. And we were having breakfast and we were starting our day, but after 1 hour, he told me that he was done with his work for the day and he was ready to hit the gym. But I definitely wasn't free from work yet because I had 8 more calls for the day. And after another hour, he asked me if I was finally done with my work. And since he was visiting me, I decided to take my day off and spend it with him. But I had to ask, how many hours do you usually work per day? And he told me 1 or 2 hours max. And that's exactly when I figured out that there was something wrong with my approach. How is it even possible that I'm working 15 hours per day and I'm generating pennies to the dollar compared to him? That's because overworking kills productivity over time, as your mind and body never recovers from the accumulated stress. And a continuous exposure to this type of stress increases your allostatic load, which is a term introduced in the 90s by Bruce McEwen and Stellar. And a study shows that a high allostatic load over time can mess with your ability to get things done, making you less productive and focused. On the other hand, maintaining a low allostatic load contributes to better cognitive function, increased energy levels, and optimal productivity. So clearly, working 15 hours per day over a long period isn't a winning strategy. So what if you force your 15-16 hour days to become 3 to 5 hour days? How would that impact your life and business? Now, this might sound scary because if you're used to work way more hours per day, you might think it's impossible to get things in less hours. We always think we need more hours in a day to get things done. But before jumping to the science and giving you the actual benefits of this approach, let me tell you what happened to me and my business when I started compressing my work hours. After seeing the success of my friend working only 1 hour per day, I decided to give it a go and try to copy this strategy. So instead of working 15 hours per day, I started working 4 hours per day, sometimes even less. And that forced me to face 2 questions. How am I going to get everything done in less time? It sounds impossible, right? And number 2, what am I going to do in my free time? The first question scared me, but the second question made me think of fun activities. And after a few weeks of trying this new approach, I started seeing positive results. I started gaining more clarity over what's essential for the business and what's not. For example, we used to have long calls with my team, sometimes 2-3 hour long calls. And after that, I noticed that it was all a waste of time and we didn't have to speak about 80% of the stuff we were covering during the calls. I started eliminating useless activities within the business and started focusing over the few things that actually gave us the best results. Just like the Pareto rule that says 80% of the results come from 20% of your efforts, meaning a small part of what you do usually has the biggest impact. But it's a beautiful concept, but it's hard to apply if you're not limiting your productive hours in a day. So what happened to my life and business? Well, my business started flying 6 to 8 months later, and I fell in love with my life again. Because during my downtime hours, I had to enjoy life and find new hobbies and practice them. For example, I went to Thailand for a month and I trained like a pro fighter in a Muay Thai gym, and I only had time to eat, sleep, and work for maybe 1 or 2 hours per day. And those 2 hours were highly productive. I only had time to make the most impactful decisions for the business, and since those were the only 2 hours of work per day, I was super fresh and confident, and I knew exactly what I had to do. And this is exactly how people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg approach their businesses. They can't be working thousands of hours per week. They must have productivity hacks in order to minimize the working hours to what's truly essential for the multiple businesses that they're running. And that brings me exactly to the next chapter. Input doesn't equal the same amount of output. And to tap in the same superpowers as these successful entrepreneurs, we need to demystify the idea that our outputs and efforts are a straight line. The more hours I work, the more results I get. And that is false. We can't get more results by working more hours. And that sounds incredibly counterintuitive, right? You must be thinking, this is nonsense. Why did I click on this video? But this is the exact same thing as working out every single day without having any recovery days. We know that our body needs time to recover in order for our muscle to grow. That's why working out every single day for too long actually doesn't show the same positive results as taking recovery days in between. Same with our brains. If we constantly work without taking the necessary breaks, we won't see the same positive results as if we did take time to recover. And that brings me to the benefits of working less hours per day. So what are the scientific benefits of working less hours per day? Well, number one is increased clarity. Your priorities become more clear and you identify what's important or essential for you to do. By giving your brain the chance to decompress, to lower the allostatic load, we have the chance to clear up our minds from all the noise. And it's not uncommon for stressed people not to see what's exactly in front of their eyes. Why? Because they lack clarity. We all have been in a situation where someone we know is so stressed that he or she won't see what's in front of them. So imagine what you might not be seeing if you're constantly under pressure. Having time to do other things outside of your work will help your mind and body to have a fresh perspective over the things at work as soon as you get back at them. Which leads exactly to benefit number two, increased problem solving. Reduced hours force you to find better solutions, and finding better solutions requires you to think differently. Have you ever had the situation at school where you had homework assigned to you a week earlier, but you would procrastinate all week and get to do the work only the day before? And isn't it impressive how you would come up with solutions, perhaps find shortcuts in getting to your goal in such a constrained time? For example, as I want to do everything in a few hours per day, my increased levels of productivity and creativity will help me find a way to solve problems or tasks in less time, as opposed to not forcing myself to do it quickly and give myself the whole day, week, or month. Giving yourself less time forces you to be quicker and more creative at problem solving. At the beginning, it's always a bit painful because you don't get much done as you're still figuring out solutions. But over time, you will become more skilled. Decreased hour of work improve your skill levels, but don't push it too much. Always take on challenges that require a skill level slightly higher than your current ones. In that way, you won't feel an overwhelming sense of anxiety by doing something too difficult from what you're currently capable of. But at the same time, you won't feel the monotony of doing the same things you're already doing. Find that sweet spot between challenge and monotony that will stimulate your focus and productivity, also called flow state, which is a topic a friend of mine named Rian Doris covers very well in his YouTube channel. The third benefit is recovery. This is the magic step that ensures you can go back into flow state. During this time, it's extremely important not to work or even think about working. And everyone faces the same problem at first, which is feeling guilt towards the fact that you aren't working, thinking that you should be working and not doing anything else. And if you have this feeling of guilt, you won't be able to recover properly, as it will keep yourself in a state of stress and anxiety. So to fully recover, you need to be able to switch off the sense of obligation completely. Otherwise, you won't be able to freshen up and maintain a solid level of productivity when you get back to work. And think about it, it has happened before in your life. When you took true time off work, you were then suddenly struck by an amazing idea or solution for your business, and it feels like it came out of nowhere. That's because you allowed your brain to recover, to lower the allostatic load and unleash your creativity. And recovery doesn't look like sitting on a couch or having a glass of wine or smoke or watching Netflix. Even if it feels good, science shows true recovery happens differently. Recovery activities such as working out, sauna, ice bath, sleep will reduce the allostatic load. That's when the body can truly recover. Let's talk about the steps you need to take in order to work less. And let's start with the hard part so the rest comes easy. Decide how many hours you're gonna work in a day and limit yourself to those hours only. stick to it. And this will feel scary and it will make you worry at first, but trust the process. And then identify what to do with the rest of your time. Literally enjoy it. Force yourself to move. Pick some hobbies. And if you don't have any, find them. Try something out. Go free dive. Learn how to wakeboard. Learn how to play piano. Whatever it is. Do things that make you happy because you will need these hobbies to truly recover. Now let's talk a bit about expectations. At first, you will feel guilty. When I started, I got complaints from the team. Results weren't there yet, and I didn't know if this was gonna help me. And in my case, I knew one thing. If the current approach doesn't get me where I want to be, which is working 15 hours per day, I have to try a different approach. Because as Albert Einstein says, insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting a different outcome. So even if it was counterintuitive at first, I decided to give it a go. Teammates were judging me at first, so that part was definitely hard, and it increased the stress during my off hours. But trusting the process helped me big time overcoming these initial worries that I was facing. So I invite you to do the same. Expect that it might feel weird at first, and you will not get the results right away, but you will use the pain and the discomfort of this initial phase to guide you to find better solutions during the hours that you are working. For example, I recently started limiting my hours once again, and since I'm working on 5 different things at the same time, I need to come up with better creative solutions to make sure my main business keeps producing results and that my partners are happy. At the beginning, it was painful. I was not working as much on all my projects anymore, but I did not increase my daily hours of work because of that. Instead, I let this pain guide me, and I came up with creative ideas to improve my marketing department that I wouldn't have if I kept overworking, and I promise you that. And the best part, I'm not only working more productively and getting things done and doing bigger steps than before, I also get to enjoy my life. I got to skydive and learn how to fly in the air, and I get in a super fun flow state when I do that. And that recharges me completely. I learn how to wake surf, play paddle, I work out regularly, and I have time to spend with my family. Sometimes even travel and go explore the world. 4 hours a day of deep focus can be worth more than 15 hours a day. So it's absolutely normal that during the first weeks, if not the first month or two, you will not see the best results. But trust, not only me, someone that has done it multiple times in the past with great success, but also the science behind it. Remember to focus on building a good life, not just a good business. But most importantly, if you take care of your mind, you can actually have both a better life and a booming business. We agree that business life can be hard, but it doesn't have to be. And by the way, make sure to watch this video up next because I'm sure you're gonna like it. See you there.